Alright, so last video for this week, I'm going to show you how to do some allele frequency calculations here. Alright, so I'm going to show you some examples, and this is really just to give you some examples heading into some questions you're going to have to answer and do these calculations for and answer. Alright, so remember the P plus Q equals 1. Right? P is the dominant allele. Q is the recessive allele. Right? So then first kinds of things you're going to see is if I'm telling you the frequency of one allele, you figure out the other. Right? So if I'm telling you the frequency of little b is 0.18, then I'm wanting you to figure out what's the frequency for big B. Remember that these allele frequencies have to equal 1. Right, so we would just be using that. So 1 minus 0.18, so 0.82 is what big B would equal. Right, because those two have to equal 1. Letter doesn't matter which one you have. Right, I could tell you this. Right, same thing, 1 minus 0.25, 0.75. Okay, so the assignment you're going to do on this, I mean, it's just saying if A equals 0.25, sorry, if big A equals 0.25, what's little a? And then you're picking your answer. So like you don't technically have to show this work, I'm just showing you how to do it. So obviously if you say big A is 0.25, like you can just look at that and go, okay, yeah, 0.75, got it. So like you don't have to show the work and work this stuff out. It's just what's the answer from this list of options. Right? So those are really straightforward. You get one allele, you figure out the other by subtracting it from 1. Now the harder ones are when it looks like this. If we're talking about an entire population, so if we say we're going to have so many dominant traits and recessive traits, and notice I'm not telling you allele here, I'm telling you trait. That's different. Right? So let's go with the idea of if we have 50 individuals that are dominant and 50 that are recessive. So the entire population is 100. Right? 100 individuals in the population. We can figure out frequencies just from knowing these two numbers. How many have the dominant, how many have the recessive. Okay, and that's because of this. If they have the dominant trait, it can be homozygous dominant, or, I don't know how that got over there, homozygous dominant or heterozygous. Right, so we can see the dominant trait. So if we look at something and we go, oh, purple flowers, that has a dominant trait, that's great, but we still don't know which genotype it has. We don't know if it's this or this. Okay? But the recessive trait must be homozygous recessive. Right? So this we absolutely positively know. No doubt about it. Right? So that's actually what we're going to start with. I'm going to show you 5 things. The frequency of homozygous recessive. We're going to go from that and do the frequency of the recessive allele. From there, we're going to do the frequency of the dominant allele. Then we're going to do frequency of homozygous dominant. And then the frequency of heterozygous. All right, so that's where we are heading. Okay, and we have to do them, you have to do them in this order. So just get that in your head. Must do these in this order. Hey, if you decided you were going to start this by trying to figure out the frequency of big A, that will be wrong, and everything that comes after will be wrong. So don't do that. Start exactly what I'm showing you here in this order. All right, so to find the frequency of homozygous recessive, two little a's, we take how many little a's there are, two little a's, right? How many are homozygous recessive, and divide that by the total in our population. So that's 0.5. All right. So then from there, we would to find if we have, I'm going to show you at the side here. This is a little math stuff. So if we know AA and we want to find the value of A, we would just take the square root of AA. Right? So we're using that down here. We know AA is 0.5. So for A, we take the square root of 0.5, 0.75. Right? And then we know from everything we've done already that these two things have to equal 1. So here we just go 1 minus 0.75, 0.25. Right? And then for these last two frequencies, it's just plug in math. Right? We know big A is 0.25, so this is 0.25 times 0.25. And this is 0.25 times 0.50. Right? So we just kind of, those last two frequencies, we just sort of plug and chug. We just put those in, figure out what they are. That's that. All right, so you can do these last couple of answers here to kind of practice and make sure you know what you're doing. You're going to see an assignment that has this, right? You're going to see an assignment, it's going to be different numbers. So you're going to see an assignment that tells you the dominant number is this, the recessive number is this. Find all of this stuff here. Okay, so do them in order. Find them in order that I'm showing you here. Starting with this as an example so you know what number do I have to start with and how do I go from there. Right, so this is what we do when we're really looking at allele frequencies in population genetics.